everybody. How are we? I'm going to spotlight myself for you all. Hello. Great to see you. Day 2 of the Abundant Soulpreneur, and it is really beautiful to connect with you today. For those of you who didn't see yesterday, I hope you've been able to catch up with it. And yeah, Kirsty's nodding. Good, fantastic. And if you're watching this on the replay, yeah, you've all received the day 1 recording now, and then you can watch this one. And yeah, how are we feeling? I know I left you with an evening with a bit of homework, really, which was to go deeper into the practices of the mindful money reset practice, and to go through those journaling. There's a lot to journal, and I'm sure lots of you I know do a lot of journaling. You're kind of in the rhythm of doing journaling, but some of you maybe not. And even if you don't journal every day and you don't feel that that's landed with you yet, these practices of going into deep journaling and just writing everything out, it can bring really, really great insight to you and where you're at, how you're feeling. Yeah, so if anyone's watching the replay, just introduce myself again. My name is Pip, and welcome to the 3-day Abundant Soulpreneur training. I'm a senior yoga teacher, a yoga business coach, a Yoga Alliance Trainer Pro, and it is my sole purpose and my heartfelt mission to guide you yoga teachers into feeling so aligned in your yoga business, so fulfilled, and feeling that you are in a place where everything has just suddenly fitted into place. Everything makes sense. Everything feels easeful. Get rid, well, I was going to say get rid of, but a lot less of sometimes those feelings of like things are tough, because let's be honest, things are going to feel tough some days. We can't always be just gliding through. But it's more about learning how to ride those waves, especially in our yoga business, so that we know where we're at when things feel a little bit tough, because you've got your focus on where you're at with your money mindset, which is what we did yesterday. Today we're going to be looking at our values in our business, our yogic values, and tomorrow we're going to be looking at our heartfelt soul purpose. So when you've got these 3 pillars in action, and you have worked through identifying the blocks, any limitations that are coming up, that when things feel tough, you feel you're able to get back on track with more ease, because that's the reality. I have shared with some of the teachers recently that there is waves, and even for myself, I had a little quiet period whilst I was renovating my house, which was a good thing. Did it mean that I wasn't feeling fearful because my business was a little quiet because I was busy painting numerous ceilings? No, like I felt like, whoa, is this going to be okay? But then I came back to my pillars and I was like, yeah, this is fine. This is what I've asked. This is what I've actually invited in. So it's sitting with that comfort of knowing, no, this is fine. This is what I need. And I spoke to another teacher recently who I shared that with, who is recovering from an injury. And then she said, I feel really scared. I'm really quiet. I haven't had many things going on. I was like, yes, because you're injured. You need to take some time off. You just said you want to take some time off because you're injured, you need to recover, and now you're feeling fearful because you haven't been busy, which you want to be not busy because you don't want to be doing loads of teaching. And she's like, oh yeah. I said, yeah. Come back to that soul purpose and intention, is that you are able to move energy around your business as you need, and to create space when you need it too, without feeling fearful, because we don't want to be in a place of like go, and then ending up feeling like we're going to burn out. So it's having seeing it more like these beautiful waves of consistency, and strength in your business. You know that you've got your 3 pillars that you can call on. So yeah, I left you with some homework to do, which was going through that money mindset. I've had a couple of emails from people, which is really, really nice. A few people have emailed me and said that it was really emotional for them. They felt very, very emotional, and lots was flowing. Do let me know. Anybody want to pop in the comments if you were able to do any further work on the journaling and what perhaps came up for you? Let me know. Yeah, it'd be good to hear, because sometimes, like when we do these sessions and I'm giving, or whatever sessions you're doing, and it may be that you need that time alone to just go deep within and let things flow. Yeah, let me know in the chat. Yay. Great. The dream day journaling was amazing. Oh, amazing. Because we're going to recap that in a minute. So that's great. Yeah, we're going to. Kirsty has a sexy AF dream day. Yes. Yeah. So when we have create our dream day, it's amazing that you can actually create it. Anything in the way of it is perhaps you feeling in your limitations, and actually you can create that dream day. It's just those little blocks of or not trusting or believing in the ability to be able to make that dream day. So that every day feels like a dream day. Every day feels like a dream day because you're stepping into that power. Really great. Thank you for sharing this, Amy. Yes, that's so true. And Amy too has been in a rest period and a rest and recovery period. And actually, so you only ever, when we look at the year, so for those, I'm sure if anyone's watching this on the replay, they've caught up with day one as well, was looking back at the year from January, February, March, April, and just mapping out every month. It's amazing to see what you have actually created, isn't it? And what you've actually put into your year. It's so easy to just sort of to value yourself and your latest sort of happenings, and to sort of forget about the whole scope of that year before. And when you actually look across the whole year, it's like, wow, so much has happened, actually. So many great achievements. Yeah. Actually, when you look back at it, it's amazing. I mean, there's all sorts going on, and not just in your business, but in your personal life and achievements and things. And it all just gets blurred into the sort of happenings of a year. But when we start to separate it and you connect with it, it's really powerful. Thank you for sharing, Joe, that you love the reflective year, but going deeper with visualizing the year ahead. Yeah, and let that start with your dream day. So as a recap, I want you to connect to your breath, close your eyes, and we're going to start off with coming back to your perfect vision of a day, because I would love this to be something that you create every day, as Heather has. And I love that Heather's already, she's just one step ahead, is our Heather, already wanting to do this every day. I love it. I think we're like mind readers. Good. So thinking about creating this as a morning focused meditation. So I introduced it yesterday, but actually having this as a morning focused meditation. Now, if you think about the year ahead, what are we likely to do? We're likely to think, but that's actually really big. I don't know. Where do I start with the year ahead? You have big goals, or maybe you'll feel like it's quite unachievable. So what do? You start with your day ahead. So every morning, I invite you to sit with your breath, as we're about to, and you can journal, or you can just visualize, whatever feels more comfortable for you, your perfect vision of a day. And so I invite you to do this right now, that maybe this becomes this practice in the morning before you start going about your day, sit with your perfect vision of a day. One filled with purpose, one where you feel aligned and living your highest truth, and one where anything is possible. What does the morning look like when you wake up? What are you doing and where are you? Who's in your life? How does your day flow from first thing in the morning to last thing at night? Is there flow and ease in your day? How do you spend your day? Where do you find your abundance? And abundance isn't just the monetary value. I was sharing yesterday that abundance is in many forms. The financial reward, in some ways, and very much in how I feel, is a byproduct to living your highest truth. It's a byproduct to you feeling really aligned. When you start to spend your day in a place where you are feeling aligned, you're doing things that feel like it's supporting you, that you're serving others in a really full way, the abundance flows. And that abundance might be the connection to others, abundance of a feeling, abundance of feeling like you're eating a beautiful piece of fruit, or maybe the abundance is that bank balance growing. And thinking about who you speak to, who do you teach, and where do you teach? Where in your perfect day are you spending that day? Is it in your own personal yoga space that you have created? Have you made a yoga space that you can teach in? And I want you to, or invite you to, take a moment to just journal anything down when you're ready that might feel maybe different to when you did this yesterday. Maybe it looks really similar. Maybe something else has popped up. And this is why we do this as a daily practice. I'll share a piece of music and words by Alan Watts. I'll do it at the end of this session, because it's really, really moving. And I've been sharing it in my classes, actually, the last week. Some of you might have heard it, been coming to my classes. Yeah, Amy's nodding. She had it. So I've been sharing this in my class. And Alan Watts says, if you dream a dream of the life you want to live, that if you were able to dream any life at all, you could just do anything. Imagine you could just create any life you wanted. You say, oh, I want to do this. Oh, I'm going to do this. I'm going to do this. And you keep doing it, and you keep coming, like anything is possible. And then you keep coming back, and you're like, wow, that was such an amazing ride. I had like such an amazing lifetime in your dream. And you dream your life, you dream your day, your life, and then you have another go, and you keep going, dreaming and trying different adventures and dreaming and reliving new lives. Eventually you would live the life you are living now. So I'll share that piece with you. He says it much more beautifully than I've explained it, because he's amazing. But the idea is that with all the infinite possibilities of the life you could have, you eventually would be living this one. And that's why it's really key to remember that you have that possibility to create this life that you want. You really do. So taking a moment to write down some thoughts and some words around your perfect day, and just connecting to that. breathing in and breathing out. Inhaling as you write everything down you want to share. I'll give you a few minutes to do so. See what flows. Fantastic. So when you start to see and picture, whether it's what you want to call in or your perfect day, you start to put some energy and action behind it. I'm a great believer, if you can't dream what you want to call into your life, you can't see it, how is it going to appear? The first step is you believing and dreaming it and to see it and to start to visualize it. So if you were like, I want to have a yoga studio at home, but I'll never have that, and you don't picture it and you don't draw it or you don't like write it down and you don't put that energy behind it, it's unlikely to sort of just suddenly land in your garden, is it? Like, so the first step, it would be like to visualize it. What do I want it to look like? I want to call that in. What do I need to do to call it in? And well, I need money for the builders, so I need to sort that out. And then what materials do I need? You know, and you start to build this picture and this vision, but it starts with a dream and it starts with a vision. So for everybody who's built a beautiful home yoga studio, it started with that vision, didn't it? You know, that was that one day they said, you know what, I want to build that. I want that. And that's what it was. And then the action happened. I've got so many examples of this. I've got a really brilliant friend who teaches disco bar, actually in London. And she wanted a studio space, and no joke, like her picture she took of this cool studio in New York or something, with this bare brick, and she had it as her vision board, and she had it and she was like, this is what I want to create. And she waited and waited and waited, and she shares often like what her studio actually looks like. It's in East London, it's cool, it's bare brick, it's amazing, and it's literally exactly like this picture she picked off Pinterest or something. And she was like, oh, that's what I want to create. And it came, you know, these units came up near where she lived in London, and she's been there for years, thriving. And it started with this vision of, this is the space I want to create. I've shared with lots of teachers before the similar thing. When I started doing my event, my Groove on Yoga event, that some of you might know, I not know that I do, my yoga disco event, I remember visualizing that, and I started it in 2014. And I remember the first few that I did, but what I wanted to create, I had this vision of being in this space on this stage with a DJ. I started off doing these events on my own, nothing like that, with just in a very small yoga space. But I had this vision. I was going to be in this space. What I actually visioned was this amazing building that's in Bournemouth, which is like an old opera sort of building, and it, you know it as the O2 building. And I saw that building, and I saw the inside with this like the gallery at the top, and I had this DJ, and I was like, and I had these girls that were helping me, and I was like, that's what I really want. Like, I was thinking it and imagining it. And then years later, I was in a amazing nightclub, which is a converted church, and I was on stage, and it has this gallery around me. It's like exactly the same, much smaller, but beautiful space than this place, but exactly the same image that I was creating in my head. And I had my DJ behind me, and I had my assistants in matching cat suits. It was like, I remember being on stage and being like, oh my God, I just had a moment of like, I made it come true. I've actually made this come true. That's crazy. And it was all started from just sitting and thinking and bringing that vision, and then going out there and just being like, yeah, I'm going to get that. I'm going to do that. I'm going to go and work at festivals. I'm going to apply to those festivals. I'm going to do it. And then, yeah, the action happens. So your perfect day, what's in your perfect day? The next step is creating the action around it. And you can do that. So we're going to look today at values, because one of the 3 pillars of our yoga business is our values. And this helps us keep on track, so that when we have our vision, we don't feel like we get lost doing things that don't feel right for us. Okay, and that's so easy to happen. I know some of you are smiling at me, that feels familiar. And then you end up saying yes to everything, and actually you probably mean no. You're not really sure what your values are, and you feel that you are in a space. This follows from yesterday, that you end up feeling you're in a bit of a lack mentality, which means that you feel you're worried, and that's understandable. So you say yes to everything that comes forward, because you're like, I need to say yes to that, because that's I need that teacher, I need to do this. And actually, when we look at what we want to have in our business and our values, this is really key to shaping what you will be answering to and in your business and calling in. So just to explain a bit about, I don't know if you know what I mean by a value, but your values are deciding what's important in life. Okay, it's deciding what's important in life. And actually, some of you who I know who we've touched on the saying yes to things that aren't going to serve us, it's because the reason you're allowed doubting it is because your values are that you know what's important in your life. Well, you've just said, well, no, this is more important in my life, this thing, and actually not doing this other thing, so this teaching job, because you know that your values will be something that you're now wanting to hold on to and to honor. And so it really helps shape what we bring into our business. So your values, it's deciding what's important to in your life. You want to think about what your general values are. It's your beliefs, things that you feel are important. And you can use like these words for your values, like loyalty, spirituality, humility, compassion, honesty, kindness, selflessness. So you're thinking about, when you're thinking about your values, you want to make it feel relevant to you, and it's gonna help you make certain decisions about you and your business when you think about your values. Personal values are the things that they're important to us. They're characteristics and behaviors that motivate and guide your decisions. So we're going to have a look at some values to bring into business. And I've picked some which I work with in my business, and then I'm going to talk you through them, and then you can also add other ones that feel right. But yeah, it starts to really shape what we're saying yes or what we're calling in, and it gives this meaning, I feel, to our business than the marketing side, which I think that I mentioned this yesterday, is when we separate what we're doing as a yoga teacher or a wellness professional or a healer or a space holder, and then we just have marketing on the other side, it doesn't sit right, because it's totally disjointed to what you're wanting to move forward with. So if to be able to be a healer, space holder, teacher, it's being able to bring values and to bring the spirituality into your business, into your marketing. So there's no separation. Otherwise, I felt with my previous career, I felt very separate. I had my yoga life, and then I was working in an office and having to do my 9 to 5, and it felt really separate. And the difference is when I came into my yoga business, I wanted to fuse the two together, but feel really authentic and in my truth. And I'll explain through some of the various principles. So what I will do, I'm going to share my screen for this. You can see this. So this is in the workbook, and you can go through this in your digital work. All of this is in your workbook. So I'll just put it on here. So I assume you can see this all okay. I can see some nods. Good. Okay, so this is your step 2. This is your spiritual business. So a yoga business based on yogic values. So your spiritual business means merging it with principles that maintain integrity and not feeling very separate. So not feeling that you're seeing different ideas of marketing and it's like trying to end up using sort of high pressure sales or sales funnels or things. It's being able to use the benefits of marketing tools, but to stay really aligned. Now, so let's start. These are the values I picked, but there are many that you might want to integrate into your business. So the first one that I feel jumped out was such a truthfulness. Like this is like such an important value for me in my business. Let me know in the comments if this resonates with you too. So it was this feeling of being 100% and like showing up 100% online and in class, and being an authentic yoga teacher that rests in their truth. So being really truthful, not feeling like teaching things that I don't do, or teaching things that don't feel like I know about. There are lots of teachers out there that can teach various things much better than me. For example, say like hand mudras, they're so beautiful. I haven't studied them enough. Okay, I don't practice them enough. So I'm like, look, go to another teacher. That people have asked me, oh, what about hand mudras? And I'm like, they're so beautiful, but I haven't practiced them enough. So I'm not going to try and teach something and just add it into a class when it's not something that sits in my truth. Does that make sense? So we sometimes feel like we should know everything and we're missing parts. And when I stop feeling like I'm trying to do everything and to remember I should be doing everything in my teaching, I thought, no, I'm just going to share and teach what I know, what has been shared with me to my best ability. And that resonates even now when coach yoga teachers, either on the mentorship program or one-to-one. I'm sharing with you my direct experience, what has happened, and my knowledge. But I'm really truthful. Anyone who works with me one-to-one knows I'm really truthful. I'll say it. Like, this is, try this. This works, or this didn't work. I tried that. I did that. It's giving the experience, but also feeling aligned. The same being when you show up online, like not having to feel like you're this perfect example. And I often have shared with a student that I knew. I said, I remember saying to him, I said, I feel like, when did I see him? Last year sometime. I said, I've just been feeling so awful lately, like really just down and like low energy. I haven't been feeling good at all. And he was like, really? Well, you're a yoga teacher. Aren't you supposed to feel calm and peaceful all the time? And I'm like, no, I'm not actually, because I'm honest, I'm honest with who I am. And so please don't ever feel like that because it's insane to try and keep up that front of not showing or sharing how you actually feel. So if you're feeling low energy and you're feeling like not good, it's really important to share that, to share what you're struggling with. Yeah, because it's really helpful to not, for others to not feel like they're alone. Does that resonate with anyone? How does anybody feel like that? Yeah, Heather saying truthfulness and authenticity is so important to you. Yeah, we have enough, exactly, in our corporate jobs, when you have to kind of keep everything separate. You don't want to, can't really share how you're feeling, and you just got to get on and do the job. You're not doing that now. You're being you. This is the time when you show up and you share. When I started teaching from a place of feeling really authentic, and that means sharing when I can't do a pose, or if I find it hard, or my journey with certain things, my journey with me doing terrible back bends, and finding them really hard, or I'm sharing something in class, or I'm sharing my bad sort of jokes in class and being myself and being really goofy. When I'm teaching, I just stopped trying to be something that I'm not, and actually it resonates so much more with my students. My classes got so much busier. As some of you know, I can teach in my hot yoga classes, and I would have about 45 people 3 times a week in my hot yoga classes and more. And they're busy, and they got busier when I just started being not, hello, I'm so yogic and I have a yoga voice and la 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 la. And actually I was just like, hey, this is me. And then I'm gonna say, have a laugh and joke and be myself. And that resonated with so much more. And I spent a long time in India. I went to Mysore many, many years, spent a lot of time practicing Ashtanga in Mysore for years and years. And I was terrified that I wasn't enough. I was terrified that I wasn't enough of a yogi. I wasn't good enough at yoga. I wasn't studious enough. I wasn't advanced enough. And so I tried to sort of not be me. I tried to be the perfect Ashtanga yoga practitioner. I was feeling really lost. I would have this very controlled life where I was sort of trying all these yogic practices of from trying to eat really minimally, sattvic, but just not healthy, just not being truthful, because I felt I wasn't enough. And when I started to feel like I was enough, and that actually I'm just going to be me, it was so much better, so much less tiring. And so that's what I mean by truthfulness, is you are enough. You are enough. You're an amazing person who has got so much to share. Don't ever think that you need to be like any other yoga teacher. I spent years doing it, and it brought so much misery because I never felt like I was enough. No matter how much I tried to do all the advanced Ashtanga yoga practices and would go and just get up at crazy early in the morning and practice for about 4 hours a day, it was never enough. It wasn't enough until I stopped and thought, I'm just going to be me. Stop trying to be some other idea of a yoga teacher that I've had in my mind. So that's your truthfulness. Let me know, if that resonates. And when you show your vulnerability, this is Amy, it's so good for you to share. It makes it less intimidating for others. Exactly. People feel more like, oh right, great. So you're not some kind of yoga teacher on another sort of plane or spiritual level that feels really unattainable. It's you're like, this is your yoga, what you're teaching in the classes has to be applied in everyday life. We can't all be, as the last few years have taught us, unfortunately, you can't always be on a yoga retreat. And trust me, I've tried. I tried to sort of make my life one big yoga retreat, but that's got stopped. And you can't always be on a yoga retreat. You are, in your life, and these practices are to support you in your life, not just you know, oh, they only work if you're, you know, these practices only work if you're in India, or they only work if you're away on a, you know, lovely yoga retreat for a week. No, that's every day. So how can we make them work every day? Yes, we're all human. We are all human, totally. And being human is way more beautiful, I think, than like sharing this ride, you know, than trying to be something we're not. So that was a yogic principle, which a yogic value that I think really resonates. Even when you're sharing, so thinking about how you're sharing, what you're sharing, and is it feeling truthful? So Kirsty shares some lovely things. Go follow her. You should put your Instagram handle in the chat. She's amazing, self-love, inspirational woman. So she's all about that truthfulness. So yeah, go check her out. So she's full of the real talk. I love it. All right, and so the next one is compassion, karuna. So teaching with pure compassion, we can say that, and kindness for your students. So being aware of the language you use at all times to be supportive, encouraging. So this is one of the values that I thought was really important, was compassion. So not telling or thinking my students needed to be corrected. That was a big change, especially me coming from a background of doing lots of physical adjustments from Ashtanga practice, doing lots of corrections, adjusting. And now I don't do any of that, because you're all perfect and you're all going to find your own self-expression of a pose. You don't need to be forced into a pose, because there's that alignment. You can be guided, and actually being really compassionate with the students to help them find their own way and to guide them into their own expression of their yoga practice, whether that's meditation or physical practice. But one thing I think is really important is at all times to bring in compassion and kindness. Now, this resonates with your business. Are you compassionate to yourself in your business? Are you compassionate with the language not only you use for your students, but the language you use for you? How you are communicating to yourself and how you're talking and thinking about you and your business. So bringing in compassion, not just as teaching tool or how you teach and connect with others in kindness, but being supportive. I make it my mission every yoga class I teach to say to everyone, well done. Thank you so much for coming. I really appreciate you. It was amazing to have you in my class. Everyone. As many as I can get around to, so that they know that they've been appreciated for being part of this collective. So having a think about how that comes into your business. So the next one we're looking at is Astaire, non-stealing. Really interesting one. Okay, especially if anyone's felt like they've had anything sort of maybe online or something stolen. But we're going to talk about this from the point of, like, when short of ideas, it's often too easy to see what others are doing and recreate their ideas. So trying to imitate or copy another teacher's Instagram or offerings isn't sitting in your truth and won't feel authentic. So one thing I suggest to everybody that I coach, and when those of you who are, some of you who here already on my mentorship program, you've signed up, so we'll talk about this in more detail, is my advice is stop following other yoga teachers when you're a yoga teacher, because they're not your ideal client. And you're following loads of other yoga teachers, and then you feel really confused because you're stuck in an echo chamber online of just watching and seeing what other yoga teachers are doing. Whereas really you want to be connecting with either expanders, people who inspire you, or your ideal client, and connecting with them. Because when you are just following, and lots of yoga teachers now following you, you end up very stuck in just seeing. And yeah, thanks Jade saying that's great, right? Yeah, stop, like, you end up, all you look at is the other yoga teachers that you know, or the teachers you might have met or don't know, or you haven't met them, and you're like, oh, I don't know what to do about, what do I do online? Oh, that's what she did a reel on this, maybe I should do a reel, maybe I should copy that reel. I'll do that same reel because she did that reel. You know, you're not being authentic, and you're not sitting in your truth of what you want to do. You're feeling, and it's easy to do. Okay, this is, yeah, you probably don't even often do it consciously. So when you feel stuck in your ideas, you're not sure about your ideal client, you're not sure about your mission and your messaging, which we will look at tomorrow, we start to recreate others' ideas. And we don't even know it. I mean, I see people all the time, they call their programs the same as my programs, and it's like, but they probably don't even realize it's just that they've seen something and they're like, oh yeah. Ali's saying, I've lovingly unfollowed lots of teachers who I found I got comparisonitis. I don't, it is comparisonitis about. Well done, Ali. I think I probably would have told you as well to do that as well. Yes, I love that. Lovingly unfollowed, because comparisonitis is so hard. You end up just looking and feeling you're not enough. Really, just follow things that really actually inspire you. Obviously, for me, I follow a lot of home, like little accounts of Swedish cottages, like things like that. So my Instagram now is like, you know, like gingham and things. So I try to follow things like that because I find that really nice, and so I follow like the aesthetic of things. Yeah. So it's, yeah, I follow teachers, meditation teachers, things where I'm like, oh yeah, that's really good value. And I follow business coaches, yeah, people that might help, but and give me lots of advice. But if you end up following, and I know that you kind of feel like you do that when you do teacher training, you just follow all the yoga teachers and then they follow you, and then you're just stuck feeling a bit like in this bubble. So non-stealing is, yeah, that's one of the principles of mine. I'm like, and I check in with myself all the time. Like I check in, like, are my ideas authentic? Have I really come up with this, or am I just sort of, you know, did I see this somewhere? So I try and check in with myself often to give myself accountability of what I'm sharing and where I've seen it. Because and when you do things which aren't really your language or your truth, they won't sit right anyway. They won't land. So it's really key to come back to, yeah, your authenticity. So our next value, which I think is wisdom, brahmacharya. So keep learning. You're always the student. So strive to learn as much as you can to help grow your knowledge and to support your students. So CPD courses are a great way to keep growing and developing your teaching skills. But for me, wisdom is like, I'm always growing. I have a business coach. I have people do all my helping me with me and my growth. I have my yoga teacher. I have my meditation teacher. I have a kind of little, I call it like a little kind of army of spiritual guidance behind me, helping me in my business and to grow as a teacher. And I'll always be learning and always sharing and up leveling, because this is an ongoing journey. And it's not, rather than thinking, oh well, I did my teacher training and I'll just kind of leave it there. This is you're on a path of growth. This isn't just about you teaching yoga. This is about you reaching your highest potential and growing. So don't feel like it's finding that balance between getting lost and doing all the courses so that you end up with sort of, you know, teaching about 10 different styles of yoga, which I don't recommend. If you have done that and you're feeling a bit lost and you don't know really what you're doing, then message me and tell me. So it's finding your path and knowing what you want to invest your time in and getting clarity about that. Do you want to focus on healing practices, breath work, pranayama, yoga nidra, things with yin yoga, calming system, or do you want to do more dynamic styles? Do you want to do a mix of the two? But how is that going to sit? You know, what are you wanting to invest your time in and to grow? Because if you're feeling like you're doing things which aren't aligned to you, again, you're not sitting in your truth, and it's going to feel uncomfortable. So the next yogic value is self-discipline, tapas. So setting yourself clear boundaries in your business and for your yoga practice. So this is like, don't scroll till late at night and get yourself to class. Like keep getting yourself to class. Have that discipline that you had when you first found yoga, and treat yourself with kindness. And so you might not have had that much discipline when you first started yoga, but there's a period of time when you are perhaps just before you do your teacher training, you go to yoga all the time, you're really immersed, and then those of you who've been teaching a little longer know this, all like falls away and you end up sort of feeling like you're doing a lot more in your business or you don't have time. So finding the discipline that you can commit to yourself every day. Yeah, maintaining healthy boundaries around the time you work on your business and the time you rest. Because that self-discipline isn't just about doing more and being disciplined, it's about finding kindness for yourself, working smarter. We said this yesterday, work smarter, not harder. And self-discipline is about you finding this time to be able to work on your business, grow your yoga business in an authentic way with this discipline. Okay, it takes commitment. Same with the wisdom, this follows on from wisdom, and this self-discipline takes commitment to say, well, I'm going to do this and I'm going to commit to growing my yoga business, but it takes commitment from you to do that. And finally, the one that I chose was non-attachment. Parigraha. So if that workshop or retreat day, this isn't selling as well as you'd like, take a moment. Let go and don't cling or grasp. Okay. So non-attachment is what I speak to a lot of teachers about, which is allowing things to be as they are, because this is how it's unfolding. And you're kind of like, if you're doing everything you can and you have a strategy, if you don't have a strategy in place to help your retreat sell or your workshop sell, that will be the first hurdle. You need a strategy and you need support, you need the guidance. But then there's also an element of letting go and not clinging. And non-attachment has been really important for me in my yoga business, to not feel like I'm taking things personally if things haven't worked out, or just not being attached to the numbers on some of the things you do. I have run workshops where I've had 2 people sign up, and then it's grown to the next time I've done it, 20 people have signed up. But it's being non-attached to that. When I ran the first workshop and 2 people showed up to my, a couple of people show up to my yoga business workshops, did I say, oh, I'll just forget it then and I won't bother doing this anymore? No, I was like, I just let go of that attachment. And now, like for these workshops, I've got over 80 people have signed up for this training. But it used to be like, 4 people, 5 people. So the difference is like that non-attachment to the numbers. And though I love to see that 80 people have signed up for this training, it makes me really happy. I'm like, yes, that's amazing. I'm not attached to how many people have showed up, and I'm not attached to that number. It's just like, I'm going to do what I'm going to do. I'm going to share it out there. I'm going to reflect on, see where this is going. So taking a walk and then coming back to your action plan from a calm centered mindset. So you've set your action plan and then not feeling you've got that attachment, like that gripping or that grasping. Maybe the place isn't right, or the energy or the timing, and then you've got to trust it's going to work out. Okay. All right. I would love to know if that resonates with anyone. Let me know if that feels like, oh yeah, I feel that. So those are the yogic principles, and we're going to work into writing yours now, you creating yours, but some of those might have felt this was like a starting point to you seeing like some of the ones that you can bring in. But when you're starting something new, and you're changing direction, which feels really authentic to you, it doesn't always mean that those numbers are going to be through the roof. All right, when you're starting something new and you're changing something for you, your business, it may take a little longer to get off the ground. That is normal. Yeah, it's normal. Like I said, the first workshops I ran, then it grew and it grew and it grew, but not being attached to that, having those yogic principles of like that non-attachment. Non-attachment comes up quite a lot. I know that some of you are, I think Lynn, was it Lynn? What were we saying about? Yeah, no, we were talking about non-attachment there. Yeah, it's really interesting. You start thinking about, oh my goodness, like how am I like really attached to these? Like the outcome, it's attached to the outcome. Like, oh, that's rubbish workshop. Only 4 people sign up. Why am I bothering? Might as well forget it. No, because 4 people are going to be transformed by what you're sharing. I have hired, and I share this. I have had yoga retreats packed out, sold out. I have had a yoga retreat where had an amazing massive space and did not fill all the spaces, and it was quite scary because it was a really expensive chateau in France, and it was like, oh no, what am I going to do? And it was like, just let it go, just be not attached to it. And you know what, the people that came, I had more time with them. I could give them one-to-one sessions. I could give them like support and guidance and make it really special. That is having non-attachment to the outcome. So you've got 3 people coming to your workshop, amazing. Make them have an amazing time with you. Yeah. Rather than thinking, I've only got 3 people coming, so what I'll do is I'll just cancel it and I'll forget about it. No, like, you've got this. Obviously, you've got to make the numbers work, you know, but if the numbers are, you know, you can, and the profit margin would be small, you know, to start off with. It's important to feel like, okay, how can I help people with what I'm doing? It's okay, that's just a few. If this is what you really want to do, if you're not in alignment, 2 people are just showing up and you don't really want to be doing the class, I say it as a message of say goodbye to it. That's the difference. Yeah. Does that make sense? I hope that resonates. Like, if you're feeling like something's not smooth and you're not getting the numbers, it might be that that's something for you to leave. And if you are really passionate, it's just going to take some time for it to grow. So Ali's saying, how long would you keep going with low numbers until you think maybe this isn't something people want? I think you've got to check in with your energy there, and then you've got to do your numbers and see how that works for you. If it's you're losing money, and you try changing the time, changing the title. My rocket yoga class that I teach at a studio, I have taught it. Like, this is recently, like the class I'm doing at the moment is like the second time I've tried it. I tried it years ago in a cool room. The numbers dropped. It was early in the morning. It didn't work. And so I ran it for about 8 weeks, I think, maybe a bit longer. And then the numbers, and so I left it. I was determined though. I was like, I want to teach that class. I love it. It's me. It's so me. I really believe in it. So I came back, I took a break from it and then taught it elsewhere, offered it back to the studio, said, let me do it in the hot room. Let's do it at this time. And the numbers were a little low at the start. And the studio owner said, well, the numbers are a little bit low. I said, honestly, it's going to get better. I promise you, I promise you. And now it's up there. Feedback is good. People love it. It's really like, it's settled into its groove. So it's taken time. I mean, it's taken a long time to kind of get it going, but I believe in that. So let's have a look at the journaling practice. So grab your journals. These are all in your workbook, and I'm going to talk these through. And again, you might feel like you want to do this a little later when you've got some time to reflect when you work on your journal. So journaling exercise to create your spiritual business. Which yogic values do you feel are already integrated to your business, and how? So which yogic values do you feel are already integrated into your business, and how? I'm going to share my screen and I will share this with you. So you can see them. So which yogic values do you feel are already integrated in your business, and how? And then looking at which yogic values do you feel are lacking. So there are other values that you might want to bring in. You might want to go and do some little bit of work on some different values, something, if that's something that didn't resonate, or you want to bring in others. And this works for every business. I feel like adding this into any line of business would be really powerful. But what yogic values would you like to create more energy around? And which yogic values do you need support in integrating? So it's also feeling that you can reach out for that help, reach out to get the support into integrating this into your business. So this is really the starting point to when you're thinking of the things you need to do. I have so many teachers ask me things like, they're like, I need to do a newsletter. So I need to do MailChimp. I need to do a newsletter. And I'm like, why though? What's your why first? Like, why do you want to? So it's really getting to a place of thinking about what you want to be sharing and integrating these yogic principles. So it's not just a tick. You're not just running through a tick list of marketing things to do with no soul behind it. Why would you want to do a newsletter? And you're like, because I really want to share my journey with on a monthly basis. I really want to share something that will help them on a monthly basis, like something that will really support them. And I want it to be really authentically me. And I want to share some different yoga aspects that will really help them. That's a good reason for having a newsletter, not to just tick this like list of things that should be done. We're actually thinking about why you're doing it. And when you use this, when you're showing up on social, it really helps to shape what you're sharing. Not being attached, being truthful, being really honest, being compassionate. Yeah. So I've also said to arrange the values in your personal order of importance and to reflect on that. Like, what would be more important? You don't need to order them all, but maybe pick out one that feels the most important. And I'd love you to create your own value to add to the list of yogic values, one that's personal to you. So you can have a little look through some different personal values. I'll put some in the email that I'll send out with the recording. So I'll put some more values and you can pick some. I'd love you to create your power word or mantra for your values. So yesterday we picked a power word, and today I'd love you to pick a power word, something that's stuck out. And it might be one of these words, these values that's popped up. These are all these journaling questions are in your workbook, and you'll have all of that to go through. But I'll give you some more examples of values like loyalty, spirituality, humility, compassion, honesty, which we talked on, kindness, we've touched on, integrity, selflessness. Yeah, there's so many. Generosity, appreciation, equanimity, courage, self-resilience. There's so many that you can use that you can help shape what you want to bring into your life and your business. Yes, Kirsty sharing freedom and self-love. Amazing. Yes, that's so you. Definitely. That is so radiate, yeah, what you want to be sharing. Yeah, please share if you've got a power that's come to mind. And some of this might be something you've not looked at before. So it might be that you want to integrate before. Amy sharing fun. I love that. Absolutely. And what a great word to come back to that could easily get lost. And then you're like, what? Oh, I'm just doing all the things that I think I need to be doing to grow a business. And actually, you've lost the fun. And actually, when you think, oh, no, that's a value in my business. My business is fun. It's fun. I want to share fun things. I want people to feel those feelings. And it's amazing that will give you really amazing shaping to the colors you use, the vibe, the feeling, how you're going to teach. That this starts to be deeply embedded in your soulful business work. Abby Faye, here for each other. That's so beautiful. Yeah, absolutely. So like connection, support. Yeah. And like people need that so much now, don't they? So like if you're basing your business and you're sharing, I'd love you to share as well. I'd love to see you do this on social media. I'd love to see on Instagram you share. My values for my business are, and I use Abby's for example, support and connection. We're here. So everything you do is based around this value to cultivate support and connection. You go on one of Abby's retreats, it will be like about support and connection. Go to a class, there's support and connection. Like, so that you feel like, no, this is what I want to be sharing. This is like the backbone of my teaching. Because it's so much more than about the asanas. These practices help you get to these values, to connect with them. That if you're coming to your business with these values, and these power words, these things that you want to thread through and embed, it can make your offerings transformational. Yeah. Yeah, I'd love to hear any other powers. Please share away. Let me know if there's anything, but don't worry if there's anything you're like, still like, I'm going to work on this. You know, it's a great thing to do on a Saturday evening. Jade has shared gratitude. Oh, lovely. Like, you can share that so much. And when you work with gratitude and gratitude journaling, a daily gratitude practice, it's so powerful, isn't it? Like, I mean, sharing that in your business, yourself, having gratitude for yourself, your business, and sharing that with others is a big value that you want to weave in. It's really can really create massive change for people. People don't even know it's a thing to do something like daily gratitude journaling. Lizzie, approachable. Yeah, lovely. Yeah. How many people feel like nervous to come to classes, and when that is one of your values of like, it's approachable, it's going to be, you know, and how are you going to do that? How are you going to welcome everyone? You know, what could you integrate into your classes so that it feels approachable? Maybe herbal tea and cake and things like that after class. So it's approachable. People get to know each other. So nervous people feel like they can, you know, ask you questions. So maybe for you, it's putting yourself there on social media saying like, ask me anything you want about yoga. I'm approachable. I can help you. What questions do you have? What do you want to know? So making yourself approachable, like giving yourself, I say, I've got time. I've got time to answer questions for you and time to help. So it's putting it into action. Yeah. And creating that space for people to be able to connect with you. Amazing. Well, it's been such a joy today, and I can see you all writing, and it's so beautiful to see. This is like, I hope you are feeling inspired. I can see, yeah, everyone's scribbling away, which is amazing. That this is our second pillar of bringing the spirituality into our business and using yogic values to shape what we're offering. Tomorrow, we're going to be looking at our heart-led, our soul purpose, and how we create a business with where our really heart is at the essence. So it feels really part of you. And you are doing things that light you up and bring you joy and feel super aligned to you in your journey. So yeah, please do share away anything that's come up from today. It'd be great to hear from you. If you can pop anything in the chat. Amazing to see your words. For those of you who are wanting to go deeper, I'm running my 7th Yoga Teachers Mentorship Program. It starts in April, 10th of April, and it's a mixture of live workshops with me, one-to-one yoga business coaching, yoga classes with me, guidebook support and help. Some of you on here are already signed up, which is really great. Have you already signed up? Yeah, a little woohoo. Got 4 of you actually on here already signed up. But I have got spaces left. I'm half full. And I would love to guide you through going deeper in a group collective. And there's community. What's really interesting with the mentorship is there's community amongst you, because you feel quite like a lonely journey navigating this on your own. So you get all the support from me. With the live workshops online, but in live and interactive. We share, we talk, share our journey, get one-to-one help with me to shape your business. And then you get the community of working with each other. So if you're interested in knowing more about that, just drop me a message. Drop me a message on my website or Instagram, wherever you want to find me. And I can chat to you some more about that, and I can talk to you a little more about you and shaping 2022 to be an incredible year for you, one where it feels aligned, you feel focused, and it sits in those values that you've created. So thank you so much, everyone, for joining me today. It's really beautiful to see you. let me know how you got on. You can send me messages, and I can't wait to see you tomorrow.